All right, I think we're good to go now. Sorry about being a little bit late, everybody. Having some technical difficulties with the computer this morning, but we got it sorted out, so happily winning in that regard. Um, it is very, very warm here today on this Thursday morning. We got up to 33 Celsius yesterday, and it's supposed to hit close to that again today, and my office is smoking hot. So because my hands are sweaty, I am going to write things instead of drawing things to preserve my drawing paper. And I thought maybe we'd do some world building today. So this is kind of my plan. Good morning, my Stephanie. Sorry about being late, my dear. So I was thinking we could world build a bit. Good morning, Laura. And just come up with something that might be fun and interesting. I'm feeling a little flustered because it took me a minute to get started. So yeah, we're here now. Rodney, hello, hello, hello. What world? That is a good question. Well, we can do something for the city of Gatto, which is where you were playing, Steph. Or we can do something completely new, or we can do something up in Freya, which is where the game I want to run for Michael is taking place. We can do something new for sure. Let's start something new then. Coffee is a brewing. Patrick, that is great news. I am a fan. It is too hot here for hot coffee. I had 1 cup this morning and was like, that's enough. I want iced coffee and iced coffee only. So that's going to be my plan for the day. All right, so doing something new. What kind of geography and climate do we want to work on, friends? I'm thinking climate. Do we want to do a city next to Freya? All right, we can do a city. So that puts us in the north. Let's just do a little bit of a map here to give us. Oh, this pen does not want to write today. There we go. All right, so Freya has the coastline. And then this is mountains. And I know those ridges don't make any sense, but that's okay. I'm cool with it. So then we have another bit of land. Tiny trees will almost fit that map too, indeed. Why don't we work on some kind of cave city like Stephanie is suggesting here? I like that plan. Let's put it in here. City, caves. So we're still dealing with kind of an Arctic / tundra biome. Do we want this to be a multi-species city? Do we want this to be a specific species city? What do we think? We could do humans, we could do Drakkin, we could do elves, we could do, I mean, I've never had dwarves in my world, but we could have dwarves. I'm kind of leaning towards Drakkin because I don't have any settlements for them outside of League and Corbus right now. So that could be fun. Drakkin are my equivalent of Dungeons and Dragons 5e's Dragonborn. They're a little bit different because instead of being just a regular living, breathing creature that reproduces through biology, they were golem-like war machines for one of my groups of elves during the Dreamweaver Wars. And they were basically a sentient AI and eventually demanded the knowledge of how to make themselves as a reward for faithful service during this war, as a magically constructed creature, kind of like a Warforged, I guess, somewhere in between a Dragonborn and a Warforged. And so they were granted their autonomy by the Riesh, and they went off to become their own thing. And so they are incredible crafters and builders and sculptors and magic users. In my world, they are the primary source of magical artifacts. So they have a lot of skill in terms of making things. They kind of take over for some of the stereotypical uses of dwarves in fantasy settings for me as well. Pardon me. Are there hot springs, geothermal options? A city in the north that's warm could be interesting, and you could bring races normally found in warm areas. That's true, so let's do that. Okay, so the caves have geothermal hot springs. So it's a trading city then. Trading city. If you can find it, because the Drakkin are pretty reclusive. If you can find it. Drakkin population is high. Secondary population is human, Umiak people. Tertiary population is Riesh. Very small proportion. I have a dwarven city now being exposed by a retreating glacier. The humans are exploring and claiming the vacant caves and halls, so adventures are needed. That sounds really cool, Pat. I dig it. All right, so we live in the mountains. What kind of industry do we have going on? So mining is an obvious choice. What kind of mining, though? Are we talking like coal, gemstones, ore, gold? What kind of things are we up to? Or maybe with geothermal, we can also be doing like crystal and sulfur collection. depending on what the springs are doing. Mining, so we've got ore. Brick is clay, usually, which would be a different biome than what we're looking at here. But maybe they do like marble. Although marble is probably a different geography too. I don't know nearly enough about geology to be making accurate guesses in this regard. But maybe there's a special kind of sort of marble that lives in these halls. Maybe it's very good for enchanting. These are good for enchanting into golem-like creatures. How big is our city, population-wise? I'm going to say around 'Yeah, we could roll for it stuff for sure. How cold is the environment? Sulfur and guano for gunpowder experimentation. Sure, we could do gunpowder experimentation. Ooh, maybe one of their subset industries is that they produce fireworks as a way of emulating and quote unquote honoring the Northern Lights. I want to chase that down a little bit and see what Northern Lights mean for their culture. All right, we got some dice. What are we rolling? Percentage? $62. So we'll call it 6,200. Okay. Okay, let's talk about this Northern Lights thing for a little bit because that's a lot of fun. The Drakkin in the south honor Wertha, who is the god of the forge. It's literally the forge. Like, it's not even anthropomorphization. No, my Drakkin do not come from dragons. That was not part of my beginning point for them. At least the ones in the south don't. Maybe these ones do. But it wasn't part of my original concept for the group. They might have created machinery that can do it, though. That would make sense. Okay, Drakkin in the south honor Wort of the Forge. Drakkin up here also honor Rieten, the Woven Sky. Emulation of the colors, glowing qualities, and shifting textures of the northern lights are prevalent in clothing, architecture, decoration, Gary, hello, hello. Glad you could join us. All your comments are pre-coffee. That's totally fine, Pat. It's all good. It's all good. I'm just thinking about how they would collect it. Okay, what kind of factions do we have in the city? If the Northern Lights are so important, maybe they're divided into groupings by color. So popular colors in the Northern Lights are blue, green, gold, purple, and red. The red is the most rare, is my understanding. Blue, green, gold are the most common. You don't think they'd collect it until the steampunk age? That makes sense. Pink, yeah. Pink. All right, so let's say blue are the hunters and gatherers. Green are the artificers. Gold are the cooks and craftsmen. I want food to be really important in this culture. Oh, meteor miting. Yeah, that's fun. Meteors. Artificers and smiths. Cooks and craftsmen. Purple. Administrators. Yeah, so maybe they've got like a couple of these underground caves that have like the hot sulfur, or not even sulfur, but just hot water springs where they've successfully created hydroponics. So we'll put gardeners in with gatherers as well. Red is going to be the priest class, magic users. And pink. Pink is the warrior class. Lighter pink equals lesser rank. Darker pink equals higher rank. Okay. So if food is really important in this city, we're dealing with omnivorous societies. Meat, veggies, fruit is rare. Cave bugs instead of grain, like how we get cricket flour. Fat is important. If they're kind of in caves, we can maybe borrow a little bit from like Underdark creatures. Isn't there like a cave bison going on in the Underdark? Mushrooms, yeah, you're absolutely right. Mushrooms. Herds of cave bison for rare treats of milk and cheese. What do they do for sweet things? Exotic plants and flowers. So maybe they have spices. Hydroponics equals exotic plants and spices, but rare. Yes, I know there's banana flower. I've never had it though. Cave fish, yep. Meat. Cave fish. Flower nectar for a sugar source. Okay. I want some kind of super cool magical creature that is like a bee, but is made out of crystal. I just have this image of like a glittering little diamond bee with black stripes on its butt wandering around from these cave flowers. I want them. Crystal bees. have been made to pollinate plants, produce honey. So if food is really important in this city, seeds are really important as a trade item. Seeds are in high demand as a trade item. Crystals that emanate light that allows plants to grow underground are actually the larvae of the crystal bees. Oh, Rodney, I like that. I like that. Crystals around the growing caves give off light that allows plants grow. Larvae clusters of the crystal bees. So the bees also kind of glow then, like fireflies. When the bee dies, they collect the gems from the body. Okay, I like that. When bees die, bodies collected as gems. You're right, Pat. That's absolutely true. Counterfeit seeds are a societal problem. What kind of governance do these people have? I don't see it being a king, like a monarchy at all. I see it being maybe more of a council. I don't see it being a majocracy. Rule by bee. Yeah, no kidding. And I don't really see it being ruled by a priestly case either. That's funny, Pat. I think they're a democracy, like just a straight up democracy. With a guiding council of elders. Okay, lord or lady that appoints successor. Lords or ladies that appoint. What's the matter, Saxon? Buddy, there's nobody there. I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Council is 7. One from each color.
Just had to grab my dongle.
Oh, you are here. Hi.
Hi. Leaving again.
Okay, goodbye. Oh, that was startling. Okay, I like that, Rodney. That's good. Certain age. Must choose outside color. I like that because that intermixes the colors so they don't become like choked off from each other. I picture them being a fairly cooperative group because you don't live in such extreme climactic conditions without a general sense of getting along. Cooperative and collaborative. As a general rule, harsh environment creates inter-reliance. Yeah, that makes sense to me, Rodney. Thank you. Okay, let's talk a little bit about some of, what else do we need in here? There was a really great flow chart I sent to Michael a little while ago. Let's have a look at this. See if I can find it. It's probably way back in my scroll. I wish there was an easier way to search images on my phone. Well, what if I don't do it on my phone? What if I bring up a separate window? New window. There it is. World creation tree. All right, so we've got creation and beginning, geography, population, and history. Those are our first major branches on this flowchart. So we know the geography, we know the population, and then those things splinter off, so we could keep going on that direction, or we could head over to their history. Yeah, I found it, Steph. They are generally immune to the toxins of the earth, like the fumes from volcanoes. Sure, I like that. And the sulfur from the hot springs. All right, so we've got this is such a fun world creation tree. I really, really like it. Let's talk about some prominent people. So we've got the blue are the hunters, the gatherers, and the gardeners. So let's look at them first. Did they break away from the homeland? That's a good question, Steph. How did they get here? Hi, Saxon. Hi, baby. You have to wait. I'm not done yet. You're a good boy. Let's put that aside for a second. Did they break away from their homeland? How did they get here? So, in my history of the Drakkin, in my head, they are a manufactured living artifact race. And they were created by the Riesh. So it would make sense to me, if there are a couple of Riesh that still live in this city, that this was maybe a Rieshi stronghold way back in the day. And the Riesh, being a dying race, have slowly been just dying out. And the Drakkin have been creating more of their kind to kind of fill the space. So this city was established as a Rieshi stronghold during the Dreamweaver Wars. It was used to produce Drakkin to send as soldiers to the conflict. Over time the remaining Riesh have died off or moved to more hospitable climates, leaving few Riesh behind and a steady / increasing population of Drakkin. You have to go, Rodney? All right. Take care of yourself. We'll talk to you later. I can't see how they'd be the newest, though, because you need food in order to have a basis of society. But I think that certain elements of their society would be pretty new. Like, let's say the fungus cultivation is a new thing, or the bees are a new thing. What if the bees are a new innovation? So that means that certain types of gardening are new, and that this is a new expansion for them, and this is why they're all excited about it. I don't know. So the languages are Draconic, Rieshi, Limited Common, that's true. The gatherers and workers would not be Dragon. Well, or they'd be like a subclass of Dragon. Because if you're dealing with artifact creatures, you can create as many different kinds of artifact creatures as you need. They would all be Draken. It's just like having golems that serve different purposes, right? Oh, itchy back. So one of the conflicts that's going on within this race is that there are people who want to remain reclusive, while others want to open up to the world. This generally falls along generational lines. So I wrote that the very oldest are content to have the peace that they bargained with the Riesh for, whereas the youngest and the newest want to branch out and see the world. So there's this conflict between staying put and branching out. There's also a conflict between a few high-ranking advisors want to expand militarily. Sure, we can do that. Do they want to expand their holdings into more of the mountains that are in this area? Do they want to go to the coast? What do you think they want, Pat? I think towards the coast makes sense because then they can develop ships and stuff. But, I mean, it could be anything. There's a lot of land here. Control the surface around the caves for security purposes, farming, and resource exploitation. Okay. So what if there is a small but growing religion movement that wants the Drakkin to have a surface steading so they can be closer to the northern lights? There's a small outpost on one of the peaks that is growing into a permanent settlement. It's not dumb. I don't know that I want to use it, but it's not dumb. Okay, let's talk a little bit about religion then, because I think that that's an interesting thing to think about for a manufactured creature. So these guys are kind of Pinocchio, where you started out as a puppet and now you're a real boy. So they know culturally they know they were created creatures. They know they were tools of war. They highly value the right to choose your own path, strong feelings of for the greater good. Creation as an act is important and to be celebrated. Even if the attempt isn't successful or beautiful. At first. I don't know how I feel about that, Pat, because I kind of want them to be generating their own religion, specifically apart from the Rieshi pantheon, because their lived experiences is so different from the Rieshi lived experience. Like, I'm kind of thinking, like, would AIs even have religion, kind of thing? Would puppets develop religion on their own? And it's hard to say. I think that's why they're interested in creation and like natural beauty, is because those two things are part of how they came into the world and what they can give to the world. Nature is important. And to be respected and kept in balance. There are lines of Drakkin philosophers who are preoccupied with Drakkin fitting in to the natural order because they were a created species. I wonder if they have more philosophies than religion. All right, I think I'm going to leave it there. We are hitting that hour mark. That's a good spot to stop. Big stretch. Do they view themselves as superior or inferior? Perhaps this is an ongoing philosophical question. Superior or inferior to what? Because it's a good thing to decide that. Do they perceive themselves as superior or inferior? To natural creatures, to tools, machinery, to other sentient beings, to natural processes such as decay. Yeah. All right, that's fun. We'll play with that some more later. All right, I'm running away. I hope you have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend. And enjoy the good weather if you've got it. Enjoy being cozy if you don't have good weather. And I will catch up with you all next week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. And for indulging me in doing some world building instead of some drawing today. So catch you all later. Thanks again.